And I see it going on Periscope and D Live and Facebook. YouTube probably is getting me by now. Yes, it is. Twitch should be connecting shortly too. And of course, Talk Stream Live, I believe. I'm on Talk Stream Live, also known as Talk Right. You can download those apps, the Talk Stream Live app or the Talk Right app. I am on those, as is Jesse Lee Peterson. And of course, it's the JLP Live app or the JLP Live player. Nice, right? Let me just connect to my stuff, the D Live and the Restream chat and all that stuff. It is 9:02 a.m. U.S. Pacific Standard Time here in Los Angeles. And of course, it's Thursday, December 3rd already, 2020. We're going to be going. Thank you to Jesse Lee Peterson hosting the Hake Report on DLive, dlive.tv/Jesse Lee Peterson. Thank you too. And you can follow me, dlive.tv/The Hake Report. I'm going to be talking about some interesting things that happened during the Detroit or Michigan voter fraud hearing held by some of the legislature over there. And of course, by the Rudy Giuliani, President Trump's lawyer, personal lawyer. And of course, that woman, Jenna Ellis. There was a black female showman making a scene over there, accusing them of lying when she's the liar. She's like, they're lying, and I know they're lying. What a crazy woman. And the liberals are accusing one of the blonde ladies of being drunk, but she made some, I don't know, fairly strong arguments, and I can't say that she's lying. I don't think she's lying. There was a witness who corroborated what she saw, maybe had a slightly different interpretation. Incompetence or corruption, what's really the difference, am I right? They kind of go hand in hand, honestly. Some people are very competent at being corrupt, right? Jeffrey Epstein, maybe. Maybe very competent at killing himself and everybody else incompetent at stopping him. Who knows? And of course, I have President Trump, a couple of clips of his speech. He put on a speech yesterday, put it out on Facebook, 46 minutes. I'll play a couple of minutes from it. Make sure that I'm connecting to the Restream chat. Something's now coming up here. Rest in peace to Walter Williams, as I said yesterday. I read a little bit about him in Hake News at the end of hour 2 of the Jesse Lee Peterson show today. And interesting information about Dominion and Smartmatic. Oh, yes, they are indeed affiliated a little bit. And they are indeed a bunch of dumb liberals, as I pointed out, based on just Smartmatic's, look at their Twitter feed and the stuff that they're promoting. Every idiot, please vote. That means Democrats, please vote. Anyway, guys, that and your calls. Some people are already on hold, but there's 1 or 2 lines open right now. 888-775-3773. But let's get on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report.
Yikes.
La la la.
So, isn't it refreshing when a man of truth fights for the country and himself? In which case, it's both, right? President Donald Trump. Gotta love him. Got to. I don't know how you can't. You must be full of hatred to think ill of the president. As we've heard on this very show. Man, yesterday, Earl the squirrel. Is that what you call him? Earl with the squirrel? Earl, listen to this.
Earl like a squirrel, I think he going nuts.
Earl like a squirrel. I think he's going nuts. Put some bass in your voice when you say, hey, guys, says Skip McBurney. Yeah, I know. I'm all, hey, guys. Hi, I'm Mickey Mouse. So, let me pull up Streamlabs, too, so that I know when the Streamlabs super chats come in. Streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. As you know, YouTube demonetized me based on nothing. That was pretty good, says Nick. Let me just jump right into this Michigan situation, and then I'll get to Trump. So the Trump attorney, Rudy Giuliani and that Jenna Ellis lady, whatever, they've held hearings in Pennsylvania last week, Arizona, I think on like Monday or something like that, somewhere else on like Wisconsin, maybe like that, something like that, Tuesday or so, and Wednesday, which was yesterday, in Michigan, right? And they've been presenting evidence, presenting witness testimony, sworn statements, sworn affidavits. Some of the people you may trust more than others. And let me know what you think of this lady. It was broadcast by Right Side Broadcasting, streamed live on a Wednesday night. The witnesses testify at the Michigan House Oversight Committee. Some of these were not non-official. Like in Phoenix, they had a non-official one because the rhinos and others prevented them from holding it at the Capitol, state Capitol, in the Capitol building in Arizona. But this was the Michigan House Oversight Committee. It had included Democrats. So I have this clip 9 from this Marissa Cabas on Twitter. She says, a drunk woman is Trump team's star witness in Michigan. And you know who else jumped on that? And they're alleging that she's drunk. I don't think that they have proof. I don't know. She sounds, honestly, when I heard her voice, I skipped forward because her voice is a little bit, Valley Girl-ish. When you say Valley Girl, that means like they're kind of blonde. They're either airheads, but she's like smart, but yet obnoxious, bratty voice. But she's pretty. Here is a couple of minutes clip of this woman being challenged and challenging this by this bald, apparently Democrat politician questioning her or trying to question her. And Rudy, you may see, if you watch the clip, you may see Rudy Giuliani trying to like calm her down, like tap his hand and be like, back off, be quiet, let them talk. Because this woman kind of puffed up because they're like acting dumb, I think. Or in her opinion, they were acting dumb, at least. And I think that they were too. Listen to this clip of this woman, and it may come in kind of loud. Some of these clips, I didn't bring them down, so brace your ears, rest in peace ears, those of you who are listening on headphones or earbuds. And the rest of you may have to turn the volume down slightly. We'll see. Here is, her name is, let me give it to you, because I read a little bit about her in Hake News at the end of hour 1. Melissa Carone, freelance IT worker, called herself an IT specialist, who was a contractor for Dominion at Detroit's ballot counting site at the TCF Center. She spent hours and hours and hours over their election day and the day after. Like 6 in the morning until 4 in the morning. I don't know. Maybe it was not exactly that. And then a few hours more the following day, too. Here's Melissa Carone versus what I take to be a male Democrat, which is embarrassing, in Michigan. Listen to this.
The poll book is completely off. Completely off.
Off
That
by 30,000?
I'd say that poll book is off by over 100,000. That poll book, why don't you look at the registered voters on there? How many registered voters are on there? Do you even know the answer to that?
No, I guess I'm trying to get to the bottom
Zero.
of this here.
Zero. There's zero.
So
My question then is if the
Guess how many? Wait, what about the turnout rate? 120%.
Let's let Representative Johnson ask his question, please.
So the poll book number, okay, there's two things that could happen here. Either the poll book number, if ballots were counted multiple times, there's two options. Option number one is that the poll book numbers are not going to match.
They don't.
The actual. Not by thousands and thousands of votes. That's not what we see right now.
Take a look
option number
again.
one.
Take a look again.
Option number two is that they essentially were filling in names of people who didn't vote.
Dead people too.
So is that?
Let's
I guess,
let
is that your
Representative
suggestion?
Johnson ask his question, and then when
I
he's
thought that
done,
was his answer. Okay.
Well, I guess that's
well-
my question here is why we're not seeing the poll book off by 30,000 votes. That's not the case.
What did you guys do? Take it and do something crazy to it?
I'm just saying the numbers are not off by 30,000 votes. So
I know what
are you
I
saying
saw.
that they're filling in?
I know what I saw, and I signed something saying that if I'm wrong, I can go to prison. Did you?
okay,
Hey.
I'm just trying to ask you a
let me.
legitimate question.
Oh, this
here.
guy's a
Yeah, let's let
Republican?
Representative Johnson ask his question, and then don't interrupt him, and then
Okay.
and then if you want to respond to it, that's fine. And did you have more, Representative?
Yeah, I guess I just want to keep following back up with the poll book. So are we saying that the poll book is either wildly off or that they are
Wildly
filling
off.
in names?
It's wildly off, and dead people voted, and illegals voted.
Okay.
So that's my answer.
I think
This guy, he's supposed to be a Republican, right? What the heck? Born in 1990, by the way. He's like a little older than Joel Friday here. And by the way, he's a deacon at Wayland Christian Reformed Church. This weirdo. I think that he might be a rhino. But they're taking the way that this woman was talking and calling her drunk. That's what that, and I don't know, whatever. But I don't know that she's not telling the truth. It's something to look into. And he didn't really answer her questions about the overrepresentation of more ballots cast than registered voters. She said 120%. This is the same thing that President Trump has been talking about. And it looked like Rudy Giuliani was nodding his head along with her. So the facts of what she was saying. And she also called out, I was telling you about in Hake News at the end of hour one today, how she wasn't talking about the over turnout of the stuff as much as ballots rescanned and not cleared when they had 2 to 3 jams an hour, right, on any given machine, supposedly, according to her. Paper jams of these ballot counting machines from Dominion, right? And you're supposed to flush out those counted ballots so that you don't, and then redo it over again. But they didn't do that. So it was counting like 500 stuff. 500 things. No, it's not a replay, Patrick. The heck? It was counting like 500 votes when you're only supposed to count 50 at a time on these machines. And she was pointing this stuff out to a Dominion guy named Nick Ikonomakis. Sounds like maybe a Greek name. K-I-S. Ikonomakis. And he's like, well, we're not supposed to be running this thing. You just stand back. Don't get in the way. She says that he was in on it and cheating. Another witness doesn't go as far as her, but says that they were not trained properly on this thing. And they were just mindlessly doing their job, but not doing their job correctly. Another witness who was a Republican poll challenger. This woman was a contractor, an IT contractor with, no, we should be, on D Live, you'd have to refresh, Patrick, Beats Patrick. Because I should be going on D Live. It looks like I am. Crazy, huh? But that's that. And then there's more that details, and it makes total sense. From another lady, maybe she's from India. I think she's Indian, like from India. Another pretty lady talks about the culture over there, which is quite accurate and quite consistent with common experience. And this is something that Jesse Lee Peterson talks about all the time. Clip 10, I got this from Cernovich on Twitter, saying, this is evidence. How will Twitter flag it as disputed? And this is this lady who was a poll observer talking about they wouldn't let people step in and challenge ballots. Say, hey, you're not doing that right. They wouldn't even let them look closely. And they would especially treat the white male Republicans the worst. Listen to this lady.
This one, when you said the 6-foot rule, we were in fact given a paper with these rules saying that we can break the 6-foot rule when we have to challenge a ballot. We even had the printed paper with us, and when we would show it to the supervisor, he'd say, we are enforcing the rules that we were given. That's the rule your team that sent you gave you. We don't have to abide by it because that does not apply to us. And we have to keep low profile. You have to understand if we don't want to be kicked out. If we don't want to, I may not be because I'm brown. But all I'm saying is, but that was my trump card that I used all day. But then the thing is, that's not a privilege for a white person. So white people, I could see, were not even daring to ask a question, because if they were even a little bit louder, they would say, you're disturbing them, so they need to get out. And you have to understand the poll workers were ganging up with Democrats. They were all in on the same team, and the only people that are being isolated are the Republican, white male Republicans. So that's
Please.
racism. If people ask me, was I ever treated unfairly, I would say rarely. Come to India, you will know what racism is. But here, no, I've been treated with a lot of respect. Now I see white people are being treated as, so much worse than, I was ever treated. So those people were not able to really loudly challenge because they will get kicked out. They did not want to abide by that rule where we can break that 6-foot rule to challenge a ballot because they didn't want to listen to what we had to say.
Crazy, huh? She's telling the truth about what it's like. Blacks hate whites, and blacks especially hate white male conservatives. And Democrats hate white male conservatives. And they hate her too for being conservative and telling the truth. And they couldn't loudly challenge stuff. You heard stories, and I think it was in this Detroit place, where people would go on their lunch break, poll observers, challengers, and they would return to locked doors. And then they put pizza boxes in the windows. You guys saw clips of that stuff. I read it to you about it in Hake News yesterday. I haven't put those clips out from yesterday yet. I will. And so here, and then I will get to calls, guys. Here is Representative, what you heard as C.A. Johnson. Her name is Cynthia A. Johnson, a black, short-haired lady. And by the way, this woman who just spoke, she was talking about how those COVID rules keep a 6-foot distance. She said that she was allowed, according to her supervisors, to break that rule in order to challenge, because how else are you going to be overseeing what these people are doing rather than doing shenanigans? So here is this C.A. Johnson lady calling everybody a liar. Cynthia A. Johnson, out of control, dishonest, lying black female with short hair, bleached. And she's saying, oh, these are all liars. This is from Crab Crawler on Twitter. She accuses witnesses in the Michigan State Senate Committee on Oversight of lying about their testimony regarding election fraud. And then you'll hear the Indian lady talk again towards the end. Listen to this.
What the concerns
Out of order. Do you have a point of order?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a point of order?
Yes.
What is your point of order?
Point of order is to have them under oath.
You're out of order. As I've said, this is something that is not done here in this state. It's really only...
It may not be done under the state, but you're allowing people to come in here and lie, and I know they're lying.
Representative, you're out of order. I've indulged you, but you're out of order, and we're going to move on.
On behalf of my witnesses, I would like to point out that every single witness we've presented here has sworn an affidavit as to all of these facts.
And so,
Representative, please.
Thank you.
I gave you some room there, but we're going to move on. We're going to go
May
now.
I say something, please?
Sure.
If that is what you want me to do, I would do it. And I will still repeat the exact same thing I watched. And you know what? I also want to say one thing. If it is a lie, it may change because a liar has to have a lot of memory power. If it is truth, you can ask me in the middle of the night, it'll still be the same.
All right. I'm going to take this here.
Crazy, huh? That was Rudy Giuliani saying, these people signed sworn affidavits under penalty of perjury. That's what that blonde lady was referencing, saying, I signed something that if I'm lying, I can go to jail. Did you? She said that to that little skinny rhino bald guy. I'm calling him a rhino. Maybe prematurely. I don't know what he's really like. But here's one more clip from this ridiculous Cynthia A. Johnson woman, who's apparently like a state representative. And you hear her battling with the chair of this committee, I guess. White, maybe Republican chair, who's trying to run this meeting and keep it orderly. Here is Cynthia Johnson asking Rudy Giuliani a question or two. Ridiculous.
Representative C.A. Johnson, are you willing to make a question?
quick question.
Sure.
Very quick. Mr. Giuliani. Hi again.
Hello?
Do you think that both you and the president are honest men?
Do I really have to answer that question?
Yes.
Representative C.A. Johnson, Representative,
Why not answer it?
Representative, do you have a point of order?
I'm asking the question.
Representative,
I'm
we're not gonna-
asking the question.
we need a
Do you
question
consider
related to the
yourself,
election.
Mr.
Representative,
Giuliani?
Representative, you're out of order. Out of order. Representative, you're out of order. Representative, if you want to ask a question about the election, you can ask the question. But that is not about the election. So, do you have a question about the election, Representative?
I can't because this is a show. No, I just can't.
Representative, do you have a, hold on, Representative.
Do you really believe?
Representative, do you have a question about the election? All right, then I'll turn your mic on. Ask the question about the
Mr.
election.
Giuliani. Oh, did you turn it off?
If you have a
Giuliani.
question about the election, ask it.
I can hear you.
Mr. Giuliani. Do you believe that the citizens of Detroit, those who have voted, feel like what you're doing today is disenfranchising or attempting to disenfranchise the citizens of Detroit?
Just the opposite. I would say that trying
Let's
to
let him
separate
answer.
the honest from the dishonest vote is saving the franchise, because every dishonest vote deprives an honest person of their vote.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Let's let
And
him,
so-
Representative, let's let him answer the question.
Yeah, he just did.
Okay, then
Yeah,
I think,
he just did.
Oh,
And
then-
so I agree with you. Dishonesty is dishonesty, right? Right.
thank you, Representative.
Psycho woman. I think Joelle, it's like putting maize on hold. Says somebody. Joelle says, kick her out. What the? I think Joelle wants to react to this. You might have heard Jenna Ellis. I don't know if it was Jenna Ellis said, OMG.
Yeah. She's the now what she was saying, what the Jenna girl was saying was true, but she was a little on the edge, so she had to be calmed down too.
Oh yeah. That's the Monroe or Carone woman, Melissa Carone, the blonde
the
lady.
first girl with the ponytail,
Yeah.
blonde ponytail. Yeah, she had a little attitude, but she was speaking the truth. But this black lady here was so out of control, and this guy had to use his gavel at least about 30 times.
I know.
At a certain point, we had to start kicking him out.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't just, put up with that stuff, because then that's why she's as crazy as she is with her blonde hair short.
Yeah.
You
Ridiculous.
know what I mean? It's like, if she's out of control like that, you have to kick him out. It's not whether it's not being mean, it's that she's not abiding by the rules. You got to kick her out.
And
So
He was acting all boring and soft-spoken like the Clear Eyes guy. Representative C.A. Johnson, do you have a question?
And that's why she kept doing it, because there's no authority coming from him. You know? I noticed that blacks attack character.
Yeah. And Jesse Lee Peterson did this same thing, talking to, only he was doing it for what's true. He was based on what was right. Up in Sacramento at a hearing for getting rid of money bail, letting the criminals out of jail for no bail, and then they pretend that they're going to show up to court for their criminal trial, right? He said the people who did this, who signed this, or authored and sponsored this bill, don't love black people. They hate black people. They do not respect black people. And he confronted that Hertzberg guy, this like liberal Jewish guy who's pushing this bill, right? Money bail. I think they got rid of money bail in California, at least in some cases. And this black guy who was chair, who's a Democrat, Reginald something.
Denny?
No, not Denny. Oh. He was like, stick to the merits of the bill. Don't attack the character, right? But it's true. I think it's valid to attack character, but she was accusing them of lying when she's the liar. Right. It's ridiculous.
And then it was so shallow as that, like, she just saying, do you think you're good people?
Right. And so, like, Rudy Giuliani's like, I really have to answer this?
It's like, that's what you came up with?
Right. I know. It's so silly. Blacks are always entertaining. They always bring some life or death or whatever. And then she reminded me of Mays saying, my point of order is these people should be under oath. She said that. I'm like, okay, Mays.
And I love what that Indian said. She just said, like, I'll go under oath and say it. Because it's true. It's that when you lie, you got to try to keep up with your lies. But when you tell them the truth, it's easy just to remember. So it's like they ain't afraid to go under oath. You know,
in fact, they signed sworn affidavits. That is under oath. So it's ridiculous. I mean, you can, like, question them under oath, of course. Yeah. But that wasn't the purpose of the meeting. So she was like, they're lying, and I know they're lying.
Gosh.
Ridiculous. Crazy. Well, always count on a black to be entertaining, whether they're for evil or for good.
Right.
Crazy woman. So I'm going to get to President Trump, guys, in a second. I have some clips. He put out a 46-minute video on Facebook and a little clip of it on Twitter. But I'm going to play some clips from that. I loved how he was pointing out, he stated stuff that I didn't know about, and I've kept a little bit track of what some of the allegations were, at least the types of allegations. But he brought something that I hadn't really heard before. Silosifer was with a diamond. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Diamond on DLive, dlive.tv/The Hake Report. Let me quickly get to another entertaining black. Earl in Michigan. Earl, how are you doing?
Hola, buenos dias, Sir James Hake.
Hey, thanks for calling back yesterday. That was interesting. I appreciated your apology to Hot Computer Smell.
Let's stop playing games and with your show that you had an imitation person.
What did you think about that call with Hot Computer Smell yesterday?
It was entertaining. So forth, but let's don't try to fool the people. And so forth. That's just a game. You knew it was a game. That's why you call it substitute Earl. And is that a hot? Was that a Hot Computer Smell again?
I thought it was you. I thought you were apologizing to Hot Computer Smell.
Don't lie on there. You're not funny.
Whatever.
Did you actually think it was me, James, when you said substitute Earl?
Yeah, I actually thought it was you.
No. It wouldn't be a substitute. You never referred to me as substitute of my own self. So let's don't play stupid games. You might as well admit your president has lost.
He's your president too, right? He's your president too?
You can call him whatever. But right now, I address him as your president.
Reality is he's your president too, though.
But if
Are
it
you
makes
American?
You feel good,
Earl, are you American?
if it makes you feel good, you can call him my president, just like I can call him your president.
Is it reality to say he's your president too?
It's reality. He's the president of the United States, which makes him technically my president. But I like to address him as your president. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, it's fine. You can hate.
Okay.
You can hate.
No.
You have the
I
right
just,
to hate. We have
that's
to
not
allow
hating.
people the right to hate.
I guess you're the author of hate.
Is that not an
You know what,
expression? Is that not, Earl, an expression of hate and disrespect
No,
to
it's
refer
not.
to him
It's
to him
just,
as my
saying
president
it's
and
your
not yours?
president. Your president.
All right, whatever.
Just like
No, he hasn't lost at this point.
he's lost.
No.
And your desperation, your total desperation, trying to try anything, can't get nothing through the courts.
If he's desperate, that
Because
means he
they-
hasn't lost yet. He's
that's just like,
desperately
I'll give
fighting
you an
for
analogy.
America. He's fighting for
I'll give you
America.
an analogy, a basketball analogy.
Wow.
You're losing 150-0, but you, the coach, said, "Wait a minute, ref. We still got 1 second left.
Yep.
The game's not over.
Yep. And on top of that, they cheated.
The game is
they
over.
cheated.
Every way,
Fraudulent
shape, and
100
form,
points.
The
Fraudulent
game is over.
points.
It's just not. Go ahead.
Yeah, there were fraudulent points. Are you concerned about voter fraud in this election?
No, let's just fraud about the Republicans. So do we?
So you're not concerned about all the evidence that they brought
No.
forward exposing
No.
voter fraud concerns?
They can't get that crap in court because it's not proof. It's just
It's in court.
say.
It's in court.
And they've been rejected 39 times. I think
Not by the president's team.
Friday-
The president's team only initially started with 3 lawsuits. 3, not 39. Those are other people who also support the president, who've been rejected by liberal judges and rhinos and cowardly Trump judges.
just by the law. See,
No, it's not by the law. No, you're begging the
Giuliani-
question. Hey, Earl.
Rudy Giuliani. He knows he cannot get that crap passed through the court, but he can get it passed through some hearing or legislature because there's different rules. He has to produce evidence.
The legislature
And
is
he
actually
has
the
to-
ones in power over this election.
And when
Hey, Earl.
the judge
Earl.
asked him,
Earl.
you make fun of Mays
Yeah.
for saying that they should put under oath.
Yeah.
But see, that's what actually happens when he takes that stuff to the court.
Right.
He's under oath that what he's presenting is not knowingly a lie.
And the liberal
when
judges,
the judge
are scared of that.
asked
That's why
him-
they're throwing out these cases. They're scared of
when
Rudy
the judge
Giuliani going
asked
under
him,
oath.
Dummy,
Huh?
hey, dummy, when
What?
the judge asked him, "Are you producing a fraud case?" and he says, "No, we're not submitting fraud, Your Honor."
That was
and
somebody
so
else.
forth.
I don't know if that was
But,
Giuliani or somebody else. That was
Giuliani.
weeks ago,
They
and
got
that's a
Giuliani
completely
in the
different
court.
situation. He's presented
They
evidence.
have
Hey, Earl,
Giuliani in
Earl, are you aware that those
What?
are sworn affidavits? Those are under
It makes
oath.
no difference what they're sworn or not.
Yes, they are. Yes, it does, Earl.
Because
It's admissible in court.
just like sworn affidavits, like they were sworn in the hearings and in impeachment, they found people that had sworn in affidavits and testified, and they found they had made mistakes, and they came back and corrected, or later on corrected those mistakes because what the information that they swore to was not correct.
You're just talking out of your
Just
rear.
because you have a sworn affidavit does not mean that everything in that is true.
I know, but they're under oath, Earl.
No,
it's
that's
evidence.
just their testimony.
You're just
And that's
you're
not
just
true.
closing your eyes and plugging your ears to all the evidence. That's
and
what you're telling me.
the judge told them that you neither have proof or evidence.
Earl, you're giving
You have
old.
neither.
You're giving old and incorrect news. Okay, you're giving old and incorrect news.
I'm talking about-
What did you think about this out of control black woman, Earl? What did you think about this out of control black woman, Cynthia A. Johnson?
I don't think anything about it. I think,
Very disrespectful,
the
wouldn't you
hearing-
say?
I think.
Wouldn't you say she was very
this-
disrespectful?
I don't care nothing about that stupid hearing. It means nothing. None of those people were put under oath. They can say whatever they want to.
Yes, they are
That's why
under
he can-
oath. Yes, they
that's why
are
he
under
can't
oath.
get them into court and say that.
They are under oath, Earl. They wrote
No,
sworn affidavits are under oath.
The person asked them, "Why don't you put them under oath? Do you have a question for them?" That's not a question that you should ask them. Why don't you put them under oath? That's why she said, "Well, if you put me under oath, I would
say the
I
same
would,
thing. Say exactly the same thing.
But they're not under oath, are they?
Earl, you're
And
being
the person
blind,
that has-
purposely
that has
blind,
this,
purposely blind, Earl. Anyway,
inconsequential.
so you got nothing,
argument.
Earl. Thanks for calling.
No, you have nothing. You just have semantics and desperation.
All
the
right.
guy's lost.
In other words, it's
And,
not over. In other words, it's not over. Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
it's over.
All right. Take care,
It's
man.
over. The fat lady is insane.
No, she ain't. Take care.
All right, desperate. Adios, amigo.
Adios. Oh, man, he got me to speak Spanish. We speak English. What a mess. That's Earl. He just sided with Mays and Cynthia Johnson because they don't want to face the reality of out-of-control blacks and Democrats and liberals who are liars. And so instead, they go and accuse Rudy Giuliani of lying. Please, give me a break. Let me get to Killian out of Boston, Massachusetts. Killian, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing yesterday, and I just want to respond to Earl. Even making this big deal about swearing them in, this and that, even though they already have their, sworn affidavits and
right,
everything. And it's just because they want to, like, play these word games and try and trap them and trick them and try to... It's all just pill pull,
Yeah. What do you think about that blonde lady, the one who was called drunk by people who read raw stories?
Yeah, she was a bombshell. I saw that on Twitter this morning. I know you're a little busy with Jesse's show and getting ready for your show.
Yeah.
But I saw all over Twitter, everyone was freaking out about her, and it's like, when you're over the target, that's when you're taking the most flack,
Yeah. You felt she was credible?
She was drunk. I think she was pretty smart, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, she kind of stole the show. I mean, I don't know if you watched the whole thing, but
I did not.
It was pretty rough. It was pretty rough watching that first woman. She was from India. She had a really thick accent, and it was really tough to sit through that.
But she really, you heard the clip that I played? She told the truth about the attack on whites.
Yeah, no, she did. But I mean, it was just an hour of she was very
thick
monotone.
accent.
She just wasn't a good speaker. I mean, I don't fault her for that. I mean, she's like an engineer or something. But no, it was a great hearing. But yeah, the blonde girl, she stole the whole show.
Do you have any predictions for how this is going to pan out? Do you have any predictions for how this is going to pan out?
I think Trump's going to win 100%.
Really?
I mean, when the federal elections chairman says that he believes that Trump's going to win 100%.
Oh, really? He said that.
General Flynn and General McEnany, which is the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, coming out the other day saying that Trump's going to win 100%. I mean, I'll trust the Defense Intelligence Agency, General.
Oh, I wasn't familiar with that one. But, Federal Elections Commission chairman appointed by Trump seems like a decent man. He said, if Sidney Powell says that there's fraud, there's fraud. And I agree with that sentiment based on what I know of Sidney Powell from her interview on Jesse's show a few years ago, and then the way that she presents herself is honest.
She's not talking nonsense. I mean, she's one of the more respectable legal professionals in the world that I know.
I saw little clips of the Georgia Stop the Steal rally with Ali Alexander, who's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show one time, and that guy CJ Pearson, the young black guy who's kind of precocious, and he kind of has been all over the place over the years, but he's been on the Jesse show one time. And Lynn Wood, the attorney who actually cleared, or is he working with Kyle Rittenhouse? And he worked with that Covington Catholic boy, Nicholas Sandman, right? Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell.
You corrected me yesterday. I thought it was the woman there. I got it mixed up yesterday.
Okay. Yeah. What did you think about this controversy over the Lynn Wood is saying, this Kelly Loeffler woman and this, what's his name, David Perdue or Steve, I think it's David Perdue, who are running for Senate, and President Trump is promoting them, and he wants them to win the Senate in Georgia, beat the Democrats who are just off the deep end, liberal, evil people. One is Raphael Warnock, the fake preacher that I showed you yesterday, and the other one is Ossoff, this guy Ossoff, who's like in his 30s, a ridiculous liberal Jewish guy. And he was saying, I don't see you guys supporting Trump enough. We don't want you in office if you're not going to be supporting Trump. We're not going to vote for you if you're not helping us save America. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, I'm a little torn. I mean, I'm a big fan of Nick Fuentes. I know Jesse's had him on the show, and he's saying, no, don't vote for him. I mean, the Republicans have turned their back on Trump.
Yeah.
And they need to feel a little bit of punishment. You know, they make a strong argument, we can't give, like, in the worst case scenario, Biden wins and they have the Senate majority and they have the congressional majority, and they say it would be a doomsday apocalypse, Yeah. They're like, even if Biden wins, if we can keep the Senate, then we can, like, hold out and, filibuster all his nonsense that he's going to try and push through. But I don't know. Every day when I look at the news, it's just clown world. And if Trump's not going to be president, then just burn it down.
Interesting point, man. I appreciate it, Killian.
I mean, I'm looking at what they're doing in Los Angeles right now. What does that take effect tomorrow, or does it take effect today, where no one's allowed to go out for anything?
Except last night, I guess, according to Nick. Essentials only.
Essentials only.
Oh, essential workers only. Yeah. And podcast. I heard from Michael Tracy, who's a liberal independent journalist, that podcasters are essential workers and going to get groceries. Because podcasters are liberals.
Walk around with a BLM sign. You'll be fine. The cops aren't going to mess with you.
Be like, I'm protesting. I don't think cops will be too aggressive in enforcing this. Hopefully. Yeah,
true. But I mean, it's still going to have some sort of effect.
Yeah,
and
it's not
here
good.
In Boston, I can imagine it very easily happening here, and I'm very seriously considering moving down to Florida.
Yeah, a lot of people are moving to Florida.
Yeah, I talked to Jesse a couple months ago. I told him I got laid off from my job because of coronavirus, and thankfully Massachusetts has like the best unemployment in the country.
Wow.
And so my dad was like, why don't you come down to visit? Because I haven't seen him in like 3 years. So I was like, well, I don't have a good reason why not to. So I went down. I was supposed to visit him for 3 weeks. I ended up staying for 2 months. And you can go into convenience stores with no mask. Nobody says anything. Everyone's cool. The bars are open. Hell, you can even smoke cigarettes in the bars down there.
Wow. Interesting, man.
My dad has a big group of friends, and they all love me. They even like me more than my dad. My dad, he's a communist. He likes Joe Biden.
Wow, what a mess.
Yeah, we even got into a couple fistfights over political arguments.
Wow.
But it was all in good fun.
Yeah, interesting. That's wild, man.
So I'm thinking about moving down there, and it's a tough decision because my girlfriend, she loves it here in Massachusetts for some reason, but I don't know. She doesn't want to go down to Florida, and I'm really thinking about going down there. It's a tough choice, but seeing the way things are heading, I mean, the governor of Florida, honestly, he's the best governor in the entire United States.
Yeah, you know what? I'm happy with him. I like that guy. You're talking about what's his name again? DeSantis, Ron DeSantis. Yeah, let's not monkey this up, he said.
Yeah. The Chinese government actually rated him as the least friendly governor to China.
That's a good thing, maybe.
It is a good thing. It is a good thing.
Interesting.
But I work as an electrician, so I can go work anywhere I want, to be honest.
Okay. Well, man, there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people moving down to Florida, so just be sure that you have something set up if you go down there, because you may have a lot of competition. Whereas in Massachusetts, it may be wise to stay where you are for now.
My dad told me that if I moved down there, I could live with him for free until I got all set up. So that's kind of a bonus. Plus, he has a lot of friends. Basically, like, they're telling everyone to avoid social gatherings all over the country. But when I was down there in Florida, we would basically go over to his buddy's place all day and, like, every day. And, like, I don't know, 12 to 20 people would just be hanging out. We'd just be barbecuing every day, watching football, drinking beer. And
do you do Jesse Lee Peterson's silent prayer?
Every day.
Nice.
When I wake up in the morning.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, appreciate you. Maybe one day we'll meet you if you're able to come out to LA, or if we're ever out on your side of the country.
Yeah, it was funny when I called up Jesse telling him I was going down to visit my dad in Florida. I told him I'd be leaving on he said he was going down to Florida on October 1st, and I told him my plane flight was leaving on the 30th of September. And I should have come visit him, because like I said, I did end up stretching my trip out from 3 weeks to 2 months.
Wow.
My girlfriend, she was pissed about that. She was all butthurt. And I've been taking Jesse's advice seriously since I've been back.
That's cool, man.
We haven't been fooling around before marriage, you know.
Right on.
And she doesn't. She's always telling me, she's like, I don't like that Jesse Lee Peterson. He hates women and black people. I'm like, he is black.
No, he loves black people. He's one of the only blacks who actually does love black people. The rest of these are enemies. Kind of like how I said that the ADL are the enemies of Jewish people, because they only breed more resentment towards Jews.
No, Hake, you know me. Don't get me started on the Jews.
I know. But I appreciate you, man. It's good to hear from you, Killian. Good luck.
You as well. You as well. I was taking it easy on you today, so
thanks,
enjoy
man.
the rest of your program, and continue to spread the truth.
All right. Take care. That's cool. Quickly, in the before I get back to calls, I gotta show this stuff to you. This is President Trump. He put out this 46-minute video speaking on voter fraud and his role in exposing it. Very important. And I loved how he called it out back then. And people have been calling it out before I even knew that Trump was this strong, right? We interviewed a woman, Catherine Engelbrecht of True the Vote. She's in Texas, I think, or something like that. She was targeted she had a Tea Party group, right? You know, those conservative women, they get kind of overactive. They start these groups, and they're nice, though, and they are right in a lot of the stuff that they say. And we interviewed her because she had testified before Congress about the IRS, the Obama IRS Tea Party targeting scandal. They targeted anything that was had patriots, Tea Party, anything like that. Maybe even voter integrity under Lois Lerner, who was like head of the IRS. Liberals. And Trump has called it out a bit. He started a commission to investigate voter fraud. But, you know, it's kind of hard to expose because they've gotten rid of all these checks on things, like no voter ID. They fight against voter ID. They got rid of checking signatures against stuff. President Trump talked at length about checking signatures on the envelopes of these mail-in ballots. Mail-in ballots is like wide open. Even Attorney General William Barr, who's I could take to be somewhat of a rhino establishment guy, said it's wide open to fraud and abuse and coercion, he said. So Trump had said people would show up in this speech and would be told that they'd already voted when they hadn't. He said many thousands of people like this. He might have said tens of thousands of people said that they showed up to their polling place on election day. You know, Republicans like to do things how they've always done it, right? Stick, and there's wisdom to that. Stick with what you've done. Don't deviate from it, because that leaves things open to making mistakes and cheating and all kinds of stuff. It's actually a good rule for things in general. Stick with how you've been doing it. And then in an orderly way, if you want to improve, do it in an orderly way. But it was very disorderly how they pushed these mass mail-in ballots to every registered voter in some states, including California. So he said that people would be told that they'd already voted when they hadn't. Crazy, huh? That sounds like voter fraud to me. And he showed a couple of charts. One of them in one state and one of them in Michigan. I think Detroit, where they did huge. You can see like 3/4 or almost, a little more than maybe 3/4 of the way across this board that he's holding up in this picture, if you're looking at the video. How, like there's this huge spike, different from all the rest. But guys like Earl are completely uncurious about this because they want the liberal to win. They're dumb black liberals or dumb liberals. Look at that. And here is President Trump in one of these clips describing this situation. It's a little washed out, so you can't see that spike. But I just showed you, Joel just showed you a picture of where it's not washed out, and you can see the spike in huge, what he called ballot dumps. Listen to President Trump describe this. This is in 13A, describing one of these ballot dumps.
There is something wrong. I'll tell you what's wrong. Voter fraud. Here's an example. This is Michigan. At 6:31 in the morning, a vote dump of 149,772 votes came in unexpectedly. We were winning by a lot. That batch was received in horror. Nobody knows anything about it. By the way, there's your line. This is one of many. Here's what is normal. And all of a sudden, look at that. This is normal. Normal. Look, even here. Normal. And then boom, all of a sudden, I go from winning by a lot to losing a tight race.
Yep.
It's corrupt. Detroit is corrupt. I have a lot of friends in Detroit. They know it. But Detroit is totally corrupt. Look at this. Look at this. That's at 6:31 in the morning. Unexpectedly came in.
I love boomers. Boomers love honesty, especially like the conservative boomers, like President Trump, like JLP. Right on and calling it out. Detroit corrupt. You know, there's an independent journalist whom I follow on Twitter, Mike Cernovich. He's center-left, I always say. Generally supports Trump because Trump is about the truth. And Cernovich says he likes to be about truth. So many people are like that nowadays. More and more people want to be about the truth and not just fall for these rhinos and all these people. Or the Democrats, of course, right? Democrats are always about lies, pretty much. And he said that it doesn't really take a lot. It just takes a ballot dump or a few ballot dumps in key places, in key cities of key states, swing states, of tens of thousands of ballots. A few ballot dumps of 10,000. In this case, Trump was winning by so much, they say. This is what like Sidney Powell was saying, that Trump was winning so overwhelmingly that they had to bring in more than expected. Hake loves boomers and Israel. Yeah, interesting. So Trump is doing what he does best, being real, being honest, being not backing down. And by doing so, he's exposing the phonies like crazy, exposing the fake news media. You know, I saw some poll that I think is like approaching close to 50% of people who think that voter fraud got Biden this fake election win, right? I call it fake election win because the fake news media is claiming stuff before the certifications come in. And we know that the certifications are likely to come in because it's a bunch of weak rhinos and corrupt Democrats who don't care about the truth. They just want to go along with the establishment, which includes the mainstream media and includes the corrupt establishment who don't stand with Trump. They're all too happy to get back away from President Trump. Return to normalcy is the words that they use. As that phony Stephen Colbert, whom I trashed yesterday towards the end of my show, said, the liberal late host, oh, I'm finally looking at a president again. I'm not used to that, saying that, fawning over Barack Obama as if they were acting like a homosexual couple of people. It was disgusting. Anyway, here is President Trump's speech, the tail end of President Trump's speech that he put out on Facebook, right there for the boomers yesterday, on the importance of what he's doing, and it's for America. Listen to President Trump.
Many very smart people have congratulated me on all we've done. The biggest tax cuts in history, regulation cuts, the biggest in history. We rebuilt our military. We took care of our vets like never before. Space Force, and so much more. But then they went on to say, as big and as important as these events were, the single greatest achievement in your presidency will be exactly what you're doing right now, voter integrity for our nation. It's more important than any of the things that we discussed. If we don't root out the fraud, the tremendous and horrible fraud that's taken place in our 2020 election, we don't have a country anymore. So with the resolve and support of the American people, we will restore honesty and integrity to our elections, and we will restore trust in our system of government. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you, President Trump. Standing for integrity, honesty, truth. Based boomer? Nice. I'll be right back, guys. I will be getting to your calls. 888-775-3773. One line open. I will be getting to you guys. Appreciate it. Oh, man, I got Beau on the line. Art Samuel from Sweden and Danny from Maryland. I will get to all of you guys. Hang tight. Appreciate it. I will touch on, did you know that Drudge has not covered Walter Williams died? And to this day, I have not seen Drudge. You know, I check the drudgereport.com. Drudgereport.com, right? I check it every now and then. To this day. And he's listed as one of their sources. I tweeted this out at James Anthony Hake. I also have at the Hake Report. But apparently it's not news to Drudge, huh? Or is it Matt Drudge running it anymore, right? Interesting. Maybe eventually they'll cover it when a bigger outlet covers it. But National Review Online, Red State, all these rhino so-called conservative outlets covered it. And the real conservative websites covered it. I don't know. I will touch on Smartmatic being a bunch of Democrats and the Smartmatic chairman, a Soros pal. Disgusting. A UN sleaze. Wow. After I get to your calls, though, in this coming hour. Hang tight, guys. I'll be back in a couple of minutes for the rest of Hour 2. Yeah. What's up, everybody? You know, I was just mentioning Walter Williams, the great Walter Williams, late great Walter Williams now. Drudge Report lists, when you scroll down, you find him listed as one of the sources that he uses, including a bunch of other like Rhino and neocon people. But Walter Williams is listed there. He is on, or was on, Jesse Lee Peterson's board. Well, for the nonprofit organization Bond. Nice, huh? You know, Killian had mentioned that he's okay with the Republicans losing if Trump doesn't win, right? And I remember back in 2012, I wanted Mitt Romney, the Rhino, to beat President Obama. But Mitt Romney was so weak. I remember the last debate, the one where they're both standing, or one of the debates, right? Where they're both standing. Obama was so phony, like looking back at him indignantly about something that Obama said, and Mitt Romney hit him on it. And then Obama was like, I can't believe you said that. Not true. Something like that, right? Phony Obama lying. And Mitt Romney was too cowardly to call him out, or maybe too phony to call a fellow phony a phony, because it turned out that Mitt Romney was indeed a coward and a rhino and a loser. And he's also betraying President Trump, betraying the country. Rhinos, scum of the earth. So I'm actually, in the long run, glad that Mitt Romney lost, right? So we'll see what happens with, and Obama was an evil person, an evil president, fake president, right? Liberal. And he himself was involved with organizations that were, had issues with voter fraud, that were like Acorn, that tried to drum up every idiot voter to vote, be useful idiots and vote for Democrats. Scum of the earth. What a mess. That's not voter integrity. One of these guys in the chat mentioned about integrity and voter fraud. Fred Johnson said it's not voter fraud. That would implicate voters. And in some cases, the voters are dishonest, yes. But he says, yet the election was frauded. Election fraud. Yeah, that's true. It's not just voters who were dishonest. There were a lot of election workers, U.S. Postal Service, Democrats, the mainstream media, all that madness. Ridiculous. I'm going to get to this stuff about Smartmatic, and also I want to touch on, if I have time, this psychiatrist, child psychiatrist based in L.A., talking about how these shutdowns, people are going psychotic. It's not just the shutdowns, it's the scaremongering. They're caving and perpetuating this scaremongering. Put on your mask. Your effing mask. It's ridiculous. The people have turned into, kind of like in South Korea, or North Korea, I mean, communist tattletales. Oh, I heard him talking about freedom, or talking about Christianity, or not wearing his mask. Let's turn him in to the federal government. He was talking bad about the, what is that guy? Kim Jong-un. They were talking bad about Kim Jong-un. Let's turn him in, get him killed. It's crazy, huh? What a mess. Let me quickly get to Samuel in Sweden. Samuel, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Right on.
And I want to call in and just mention that in this upcoming Sunday stream I have, the cross stream, I will have Matt Living the Dream as my guest.
Wow. Our very own Matt Living the Dream. Well, he's one of my moderators, I think.
It will be very amazing, actually. I'm looking forward to listen to all amazing things.
Okay.
And I also want to mention that, I have been a sphere earther, a round earther, but, even to this day, even if I I know that the Bible hints that the Earth is flat, kind of. But a week ago I found an image of the star system, and when they photographed the stars and how they moved around the sky during the night. Are you there?
Yep.
Yeah, and the stars are moving in a circular motion in the skies when you like show how they rotate during the night, and it's a impossibility if you consider how the official story goes about how the world is spinning around the sun. Stars would not be moving in a circular motion about us. They should be moving across us, because the Earth is moving across, when the day and night cycle. And another thing is that,
but I don't know. I don't really understand that. It's mind-boggling to think about.
Well, another thing is just because the Earth is the night sky is pointing in different directions during the different seasons of the year, because if you believe the official version, I mean, in the summertime, we will have one night sky. Well, they don't mention that, but if you believe how the Earth is rotating around the sun, we should have totally different night skies during summer, during autumn, during winter, and so forth, because our night should be on the another direction. But, I mean, after looking at this, I don't say I'm a flat earther, but I don't believe that the Earth is rotating around the sun. I believe that the sun is rotating around the Earth. That's the only possible conclusion I can come to. And the stars.
I don't know, man. You said that the Bible hints that it's flat?
Yeah, a lot, actually.
I'm not aware of that.
Well, I did have a cross stream where I talked about what the Bible says about Earth. And for one example, the four corners of the Earth. You can't have four corners on a sphere. You can't even have that on a circle, actually. Actually, Bible mentions perhaps the Earth is rectangular.
Yeah, because everybody's...
Anyway,
Yeah, because people are saying that, but even exactly. The flat earthers say that the Earth is round too, but it's just not. It's not a sphere. It's a disc. Yeah. It's like a CD.
Yeah, but I'm looking into this with the stars because we should have.
I don't think that the Bible is hinting what you guys think that it's hinting.
Well, perhaps. Well, I did have a.
I don't know if it's really. I don't know. I don't think it's necessary to get into this stuff.
But well, anyway, I think up until this time I've been a sphere, but I'm starting to change because the stars thing is too weird. It should not be possible that we have the same.
Have you looked into the explanation on the stars movement by the Baltards? Baltards being the round Earth people.
It seems that there is no simple explanation from but let's call them the NASA people. Well, this is.
But NASA wouldn't have to describe that for you. I think it would be like I don't know. People have been noticing this stuff for ages, like Galileo and all of those, and even like Aztecs. Didn't Aztecs? I don't know. All these people have seen this stuff.
It's just insane that the stars are moving in a circular motion and that we have
I don't know that it's insane.
Stars.
I haven't stopped to think about or consider like what it would be like because we're moving plus we're I don't know.
Well, if at daytime the Earth should actually be the sun side should be facing a totally different stars part of the heaven, and of course, if this Earth is rotating, then we should see the stars gliding over heaven, not in a circular motion, but in a straight pattern. just the Earth is moving in a, let's say, straight pattern from day to night to day. That's what I just hit me. But I can't come over it, so I have to see it as the stars and the sun is rotating the Earth and not the other way around. But,
whatever.
I will look into it.
I don't know if it's even worth looking into.
Well, this is a thing I actually can see. I can't see the edges of the Earth, but I can see the sky, and I always like to see the sky. So, this is a thing that I'm interested in.
All right. Well, you do you, Samuel. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the update.
Yeah.
I like Matt living the dream. He's a nice guy. I think he's the maple maker. Makes very good maple syrup. Or God makes it, and he reaps it.
It does.
He harvests the maple.
Okay,
Something, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He processes it. But it's not processed maple. It's natural maple. But right on. Appreciate you, Samuel, and Matt living the dream. Right on. Take care, man.
Yeah, you're welcome to listen on Sunday.
Yeah. I usually do. Appreciate that, man. Take care.
Nice.
All right.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Samuel the Swede. Let me quickly get to Art in Ohio. Wants to comment on this Michigan hearing. He was commenting on the Jesse Lee Peterson show about that C.A. Johnson woman, Cynthia A. Johnson. Piece of work. Art in Ohio, how are you doing?
Piece of work, huh?
Yeah, piece of work.
Check this out. So, man, I appreciate you. I want to tell Trump that I'm sorry that I ain't been paying attention more to the numbers and the breakdown and basically all the facts that he's been laying out as far as the evidence, because I've been trying to keep up with him. But see, I'm starting to come to the realization Trump is just what he is. He's a real-life businessman. He's already been dealing with numbers.
Yeah.
So when he's spitting these numbers at the citizens, American people, he got to realize we came from these public schools, and these teachers like C.A. Johnson or whatnot, they ain't teaching nothing. So a lot of these kids are they ain't going slow. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
you don't have to keep up with all that stuff. You look at the people who are on the other side. They're dishonest people. Look at the people who are on our side. Generally, they're honest people. Trump, Jesse Lee Peterson, and some of these other people. Honest people. It's just basic. Yeah. You don't have to know all the number stuff. You don't have to keep up with that. It's not like you're the one prosecuting the case. And
well, no.
Because that's a communist trick, is you have to know all these facts and figures so that you have an answer to every little thing that they throw at you. When it's just a dumb thing, you just know basically that these are fake people who lie. You don't have to know the numbers. Don't sweat that.
So are you saying I don't know the numbers as far as with Trump is? As far as him stating his evidence on the little 46.
Yeah, because he's stating a lot of evidence, and if you're into numbers, then be into numbers and process those numbers. But if you don't really know the numbers, you don't have to worry.
Whoa. I'm just saying I'm into numbers, facts, logic, and truth. You see what I'm saying? So when he's telling me all this stuff and he's pitching it at me, I need to make sure I'm catching it. You see what I'm saying?
I guess.
I want to know. So when one of them liberal left loonies come at me, I'm able to throw it back at them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that it doesn't really take much. It doesn't take too much knowledge to debunk these people, because they're liberal left loonies.
We know that.
Yeah.
All right. So
if you want to, go for it. But it's funny that you called C.A. Johnson. She reminded you of like one of those teachers, liberal teachers.
Oh, they all through. Well, why do you think these kids are so dang on dumbed down?
Yeah.
And they don't know. They don't know what's going on.
You do bring
smart. They allegedly smart.
Yeah.
But they don't know left. They don't know left from right. So they initially somebody with an alleged brain is going off a cliff.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And my thing is with that one caller that said that the last two callers ago, he said, the blonde-headed woman and C.A. Johnson stole the show for being the biggest dummy. You know, and it's just crazy because if you look at them foreign Indian ladies they came on there and they seem like they understand more than American females and females that went to American schools, and that's sad.
Yep.
They got heavy accents,
I know.
and they coming over here explaining your machines to you, and you supposed to be smarter than them, and you came from the greatest land in the world, America.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure that. And then
Yeah, that's true. It is a problem. The bad education of so many people, especially affecting the blacks, is a major issue. We got to fix that.
And it definitely is. And then the last caller, Earl, Father God needs to open his brain and blow the dust off of it because his brain ain't kicking right. It definitely ain't. God bless him and blow the dust off of it or fix a couple screws because they ain't kicking right up there.
Yeah.
Earl, you need to. And because my thing is this with your C.A. Johnson, it's a problem when she comes out her mouth when a witness is giving a statement telling, I'm from Detroit and you lying. How you know it? You wasn't at every poll booth. How you know if they lying?
Exactly. No, she's a liar. By accusing them without knowing, she's lying. And I know they're lying. She's a ridiculous person.
And I know they lying. You know somebody lying like you got 100 eyes and you could be at all these different poll places.
It's like how blacks. It reminds me of how blacks think they have this sixth sense that they can sense racism in you. Oh, he looked at me. I could just tell he looked at me with racism. Angry people do that. They think that they can see. They can read you.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm hearing you. But you know what you were saying about that chair dude, where you was kind of saying that the Republicans are like they kind of standoffish and he kind of act like a beta, not saying nothing. The head chair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like him. I think he's an alpha. I think he let a lot of them liberals put their foot in their mouth like Trump do.
Yeah. That's true.
It was one dude. If you look, I was watching on NTD or whatnot, and he was to the far left. He had he was kind of going bald. He's a liberal. It was one soy boy that had black hair that looked like he was Italian. He's a liberal. And then the one Johnson dude, I don't know. I think he might be like a moderate or something.
Yeah, he's supposedly Republican, according to what I just looked up. But I don't know. Yeah, moderate maybe, which is weak.
Yeah, which is weak or whatnot. But it's just crazy, man. I don't understand Well, I understand why they have people like Cynthia and G because they're trying to promote that that's the way. And I'm like, wow, this is ridiculous. You got people in here in a supposed to be a place that's supposed to have integrity wherever that committee place is in these courtrooms, and y'all in here acting like y'all on the playground.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
people are ridiculous.
And then you expect your kids to come out here in the society and function. They raised the same way you are, C.A. Johnson. They ain't gonna do nothing but be at the rest of these other jobs causing confusion and destruction at these other jobs. It's a trickle-down effect, man.
You know, the only people that I know of, who covered this, you mentioned NTD. Did you mention NTD News?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
because I only saw clips from Right Side Broadcasting. Right Side Broadcasting Network is another outlet that covered this. Aside from NTD News and Right Side Broadcasting, I haven't seen any real mainstream media coverage of it, except for trying to accuse that woman of being drunk or whatever.
Well, that's why a lot of the Americans don't know what's really going on, because that's what media's been doing. They've been censoring and holding everything hush.
Right.
Trump got it. The sad part is, it's sad to say, and a lot of it, this is what is really coming to 1776 once again. And just as far as what, because we know a lot of this history, all this revolution, all this war, we in tune to what's really going on or whatnot. Unlike them, they act like they know what's going on. The sad part is, I don't understand how they would think that Trump would succeed if all of us know that y'all cheated.
Right.
Only way Trump should leave up out of that office is if y'all either give him a revote or y'all audit and make sure everything is right. If not, I don't see why he should leave up out of office. And the military ain't gonna be able to do too much because they got a whole bunch of stuff going on overseas. So it's gonna be left up to the American people to handle it.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know. It's wild.
If you cheat, this is what's going to end up happening. You mad. The liberals, y'all want to go this way? I'm not mad at Trump. I don't see Trump doing nothing wrong, man.
Yeah.
Y'all cheating, and y'all think we, the American people, just supposed to just shut up and put our hands in our laps like we China. It ain't happening.
Thank you, Art, man. I appreciate it. The voice of reason.
Bless you.
Take care, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you to Philosopher with the for the many gifted subscriptions on the Hake Report D Live. Watching Bear gave a diamond, and so did Noah's Ark, Kansas. Thank you, guys. Cat Payne gave a diamond, saying, "Call our hero, Sheriff Joe Arpaio." I will. I'm waiting to get the book from Chris from Arizona. She bought me a book and got it signed for me by Sheriff Joe Arpaio in Tombstone, Arizona. I'm pumped about that. Cat Payne gave a diamond. Thank you. Appreciate the support. Thank you to GMD Jim gifting a subscription to the Honkening. Congrats to the Honkening and all the rest of you guys who received subscriptions from Philosopher and others. Appreciate that. Very nice. It's crazy. Let me quickly get to Beau. I haven't heard from Beau in a while in Santa Barbara, California. Beau, how are you doing?
What's going on, man?
Not much. How about you?
Oh, man. Just sitting here watching the show, man, you know?
Nice.
The gentleman who just spoke, he pretty much, you know, at the end of the phone call, he pretty much hit it on the head. He was like, you know, he's like, if this all comes out that it's proved that you guys are, or that the left is fraudulent, and on top of the fact that you guys haven't even talked about the software issues that happened.
Dominion and Smartmatic and all
Dominion
that? Yeah.
And the apparent gunfight between Delta operators and CIA operators at a CIA-held facility in Germany that was supposedly software. They were counting the votes there. I heard that from two different news sources. I don't know. But
yeah, I don't know about that either much.
I don't know. But if there was Delta operators in a gunfight, first of all, I feel sorry for anybody who's in a gunfight with Delta.
Delta Force?
Lose. Oh, yeah.
Out of the, what is that, the Marines or what?
Delta is Army.
Okay.
And the only way I could explain it is like they're like SEAL Team 6 of the Army. But the SEALs get all the attention.
Yeah.
Delta, you don't hear about them. You don't, because you don't want to know what they're doing, and you don't want to be on their bad side.
Okay.
But they're some bad boys. So I've heard that, and I heard from Sidney Powell. She said that the software was switching votes.
Right.
So and Trump won by such an intense amount. He won by such he won by a fucking landslide that it overwhelmed the software. And then she said that's when the fake ballots were coming in through the back door at 4 a.m. And, you know, and then there's people that have given their affidavits and witnessed that. And they basically, they pooped the bed because they panicked because Trump won by so much.
Yeah.
So
and then it broke the algorithm is what she was saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's from what I've learned. I'm watching a lot of Dan Bongino right now. He's very much into the facts, good conservative man. But yeah, you know, what concerns me is, you know, like you see the old movies like The Untouchables. If the judge is owned by the mafia, then the guy gets off, right?
Yeah.
Well, if all these judges are, you know, influenced by
establishment,
the left, which it's looking like a communist coup from China through the Democratic Party.
You know,
I don't know. That's just a theory. But if all these judges are bought and there's all this evidence, and then, well, sorry, you still lost the election. Just what that gentleman just said. Do you expect Trump to just concede and give up America for the people who actually won the election? I mean,
no, that's why he's fighting.
You know what I'm saying? It's like Harris. I saw Kamala Harris condone the riots. She was like, they should be rioting. I'm paraphrasing, but she basically said they should be rioting. She's pro Black Lives Matter, and that lady's going to run our freaking country?
Right.
I'm sorry.
It's ridiculous.
No. I'm not going to concede, man. There's no way. We're going to lose. We're going to lose America. And what happens to old people when they break bones? This is how my grandfather went out. He fell, broke his hip, he had a stroke, and died.
Yeah.
Freaking, what's his name, already broke his foot. How long till he has a stroke and then that crazy woman's in power? Yeah,
that's an interesting point. Yeah, Biden is so you can see him, the way he walks. It's just so gingerly all the time. Yeah, Trump is. That's why I appreciate Trump for fighting this so strongly.
He has to. He has to fight, because with everything we've been through as an American public, watching our country burn, people being murdered on the street, pulled out of their cars and beaten, attacked and shot, and the people that are running on the left are behind that and supporting that.
And the establishment is with them. The rhinos are with them. It's ridiculous.
That's because that's what Dan Bongino says. He goes, they have gone over to the left because they think if they are nice to the left, they're going to come and take their scalps last. Hey, I'm nice. I'm nice.
Right.
No, don't concede. They're still they're evil. Like, I don't even see the Democratic Party as a legitimate party anymore. They have condoned rioting, murdering, and freaking it's evil. And I'm supposed to sit there and go, oh, hi, you're a Democrat. No, man, you need a one-way train ride off of American soil. You're gone.
That would be nice.
I'll give you good coffee. I'll give you good coffee and good food, but you're done. You're gone.
Yeah.
We can't stand divided like this. And if Biden wins, you think that 75 million American patriots are just going to allow Black Lives Matter to rule the country? It's going to get scary. And if Trump doesn't concede, they're going to come out and riot again, but I don't think that American patriots are going to stand for it this time, and I don't think the police should stand for it. I think they should be cleared hot to go lethal on these guys. You put 5 live rounds into a riot like that, and they're going to stop rioting. It didn't even take that in Detroit when wasn't it a Detroit mayor, a Democrat actually, who said he said shoot to kill those who were throwing Molotov cocktails because that's a deadly threat, and shoot to maim any looters because looters are taking away people's livelihoods and making life hell in those places, and it's driving down. Look at Detroit; it's a mess. It doesn't really take much, but it just takes spiritual strength of the people. My uncle was a good man. Uncle John Muir, he was a Marine Corps rifleman in Vietnam. And we were watching riots on TV one time when I was about 9 years old. And he looks at me and goes, Beau, how many bullets does it take to stop a riot? I'm like 9 years old eating cereal. I'm like, I don't know, Uncle John. He goes, it takes 3. The guy who's holding the flag, you pop him. The next guy picks up the flag, you pop him. The next guy picks up the flag, you pop him. After 3 bullets, no one wants to pick up a flag anymore. That's what these guys need. We need to be cleared for lethal force if they riot again, because we're going to lose our country. And this is stuff that people don't want to talk about mainstream. They don't want to talk about the scary stuff.
Well, I mean, it just takes a return to manhood. People are not.
They're scared. They want to be nice to Democrats. It's like, dude, I watched the jiu-jitsu gym burn down in L.A., and this guy has all kinds of races in there. He's not even white. His gym was just torched.
And it's ridiculous because they pretend that it's valid to burn down white businesses. It's such a shame.
They burn down their own businesses.
Right.
It's like they just hate mankind. They don't realize that they're under the influence of Satan.
Right.
And when it gets to this point, they need lethal force to wake them up. I'm sorry, but
we need to return to actual swift justice. No more of this. Oh, yeah, he killed such and such number of people, but let's let him appeal the death penalty, or not institute the death penalty. Oh, too many. It's affected people of color disproportionately. It's ridiculous.
They're allowing people to throw frozen water bottles at our police department.
Yeah.
And
they're burning down precincts.
Yes. And they're burning down precincts.
And chasing the cops. They're chasing the cops off.
They took over that CHOP area in San Diego, or Seattle, until they went to the mayor or governor's house, and then she said, shut it down. And at the same time, they're using the police to enforce this fake coronavirus regime. And if you notice that when Trump lost, everybody was out in the street celebrating. As soon as it came to him going, okay, I'm going to contend this was a fake, all of a sudden they locked everything down again.
Yep.
You're not allowed to go outside because Trump is showing power, and we got caught.
Right.
This is not about the coronavirus. This is about them wanting power, scaring the population, and they're hurting people. People are committing suicide. I quit smoking pot I moved out of my girlfriend's house. I have my own apartment. I bought a house in
Congratulations.
Texas. It's renting. I'm renting it out, but a lot of it's because of Jesse Lee Peterson. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to live right. And the more I do that, the more I feel like the world is telling me how wrong I am. But it's a lie. The world is a liar.
Are you doing Jesse Lee Peterson's silent prayer?
No, I probably should. I'm in contact with a pastor I know up in North Dakota every now and again. He's somebody that I met when I was in the oil field up there, and he's very grounded. He's very old school, and he's kind of a mentor to me. But I'll try this. I'll try the silent prayer.
Yeah, you got to be led. Yeah. You can't be led by other men.
Yeah.
Or anybody else.
Yeah, I'm really not good at that anyway.
And you don't want to get into like your imagination and start tripping, or get ahead of yourself, because you're talking about
weed, man.
Right. I know, and a lot of people can't deal with the stress once they stop. But right on, man. Yeah, but make sure that you get right, and come down to the men's. I don't know if you're free. I don't know if you're free to come down for the men's forum, but that's tonight, 7 p.m. at Bond, guys. So.
Is it at the same location?
Yeah.
So what are they going to do to me if I drive down there? Though you're not allowed to drive at night. You're not even allowed to be outside.
I don't know how much they're really enforcing that, but that's something to consider if you don't want to. Yeah. If you don't want to be like that, if you don't want to take that risk, then you definitely don't have to. You don't have to do but you should be doing the prayer, because you don't want to start tripping.
Yeah, it's I'm on my motorcycles a lot, and I'm exercising a lot, and it's impossible. Like whenever you go into a fight, right? You're lying if you say you're not scared, but you have to keep your head.
Right.
So it's like I'm scared right now, but I have to keep my head. I don't want to start tripping. You're right, but
yeah,
it's like I'm just calling all of these governors and mayors out that are scaring us with this coronavirus. It's baloney, and they know it's baloney. It's a flu. It's a cold.
Yeah.
And in the recovery rooms, I heard somebody commit suicide because they just couldn't do it anymore. And
what do you mean do it anymore? The lockdown stuff?
The lockdowns and they just mentally were it broke them.
Yeah.
And
it's evil.
And these people, Ian Smith is another guy who's a fitness guru out on the East Coast. He's getting fined $15,000 a day for holding his gym open. He's had
it's crazy.
Close to 250,000 visits with no coronavirus. He's a huge guy to stand up to these guys. But
Beau, I got to run. Appreciate it, man.
Sorry, man.
Take care.
Thanks for letting me rant. I appreciate you. Love you, man. All right.
You as well. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. You can catch Beau's interview on The Fallen State. I think he appeared alongside another fighter on The Fallen State, maybe like a year ago or so. Let me get to Danny in Maryland. He wants to respond to Earl and talk about the Michigan hearing. Danny, what's up?
Hey, what's up? How you been?
Fine, thank you.
Well, I just wanted to point out that just like Earl, that lady that was drunk on that, or it looked like she was drunk on that Michigan House oversight, she didn't ask any question to the data guy because it was so plainly obvious. He was explaining how they counted the
Wait, which one are you
ballots.
referring to as the lady who looked like she was drunk? Are you talking about the blonde lady who was a witness?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about the black lady who was out of control?
Yeah, the one that was out of control. She looked more drunk to me than the other.
Oh, okay. You're talking about Representative C.A. Johnson of Michigan.
Yeah.
Cynthia,
she had
the
a
black
lot
one.
to say to everybody.
Yeah.
She had a lot to say to everybody except for the data guy that's a colonel. His credentials, he said his credentials, he was a colonel for psychological operations.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that guy spoke too, huh? He was a witness in other states too. Yeah.
So he was explaining how they counted all the paper ballots, and after they finished, they put them on these keys, or they call them tapes too.
Okay.
So they are transferred to their tapes digitally,
All
and
right.
then those keys are used to make the final vote to call the county or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was explaining how even though the vote amount, the ballot amount didn't change, the votes from one side to the other changed. In the end, the marijuana law, in the beginning when they counted in paper ballots, the marijuana didn't pass.
Okay.
And when it went digitally, it passed. So they changed, he said, 700 votes from one side to the other. So you'll still get the same number, but the data is changed digitally.
Yeah.
So
no, I could believe that. Sidney Powell kind of explained how they use a QR code that is not readable by humans for the data on how the ballot goes, and then they also have a printed side. But the printed side, there's no saying that the printed side that is readable by humans matches what's the information is on the QR codes. So it's like shenanigans, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, it's very, once the guy speaks, that's the only person I was really trying to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Because you know that Dominion doesn't want to show up anywhere.
Right.
So the only way that we can find out is by people like this guy who's a colonel.
Right.
That worked exactly and specifically on these type of things. So he mentioned
Phil,
a lot
you're talking about Phil Waldron, Waldron. Phil Waldron, retired Army colonel. Yeah, he's been a cybersecurity expert.
Yeah, you notice how none of these people on the left asked this guy a question, and the only one leftist guy who did thought that because he was explaining how it was impossible with the amount of printers, high-speed printers they had, to push so many ballots by a certain time. So the leftist guy, or whatever his name was, asked him, but wasn't that all the counties pushing, wasn't that already in the, he was trying to insinuate that it was already in the clouds and there were just, all those counties were pushing the ballots at the same time.
Okay.
And then the data guy, the colonel, explained to him, no, they were uploading data by every amount of time. So it's not, they don't stop.
Okay.
And
yeah.
when they finished, they pushed everything. They were slowly uploading data, and that's how they found all these, all these mistakes or whatever they want to call it. But it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't trust these people, and they're a bunch of liberals. I have some information that I'm going to present to the people. Danny, appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
I see you. God bless.
You as well. Take care. Before I get back to calls, guys, I have Robert next and Josh and Stuart. Hang tight, guys. Smartmatic are a bunch of Democrats. Smartmatic, Dominion too. Dominion's even worse than Smartmatic, I think. Well, they're both evil. According to Revolver News, Smartmatic claims that it prohibits political donations, but 86% of their staff gave to Democrats. Or 6% of their donations were to Democrats. I don't know what it exactly is. Revolver News and the National Post report the company's recently added so-called fact-check webpage, meant to exonerate the company from the bias claims, states Smartmatic's founders and employees adhere to a strict ethics code that, among other things, prohibits them from making political donations. But the claim falls under the Smartmatic's credibility is our most important asset heading, easily disproven, according to the National Pulse, by the Federal Election Commission, FEC records. From 2019 to 2020, individuals listing Smartmatic as their employer donated to the national political campaigns. Of the 28 total donations, 24 were directed to Democrat candidates via Act Blue. Act Blue. Same thing that Black Lives Matter donations goes to, right? Only 4 donations worth a total of $90 only went to Republican candidates. In addition to Joe Biden, failed presidential candidates such as Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, Pete Buttigieg, the Boot Edge, as Trump calls him, the homosexual guy from South Bend, Indiana, along with congressional candidate Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff, were recipients of Smartmatic employee money, cross-referencing the database. George Sprout, who made a donation of $100 to Biden for president, lists himself as Smartmatic senior product manager on LinkedIn. Liliana Armas, who also donated to Biden, listed on Smartmatic's own site as the company's general counsel. The overwhelming support for Democrats is nearly 86% of donations went to Democrats. Shares a similar pattern with employees of Dominion. Dominion counts 96% of all donations as having helped Democrat candidates. And the Smartmatic chairman, going further, Soros-linked Smartmatic chairman, this is from Revolver News, sharing a National Post article, admits that technology is licensed from Dominion. They're trying to act like, oh, they have no monetary connection. The comments came from Smartmatic company chairman Lord, I have pictures of this guy, Lord Mark Malloch Brown. He's a British guy, and he's a longtime UN sleaze involved with the refugee program with the UN, and the UN likes to force refugees into white countries and subvert the white countries, right? He was Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations back in the maybe 90s or maybe since then. He called himself a journalist, liberal, Labour Party, which is globalist socialist over there in Great Britain, UK. British globalist socialist Labour Party enjoys intricate financial relations with and a famous friendship, quote unquote, with leftist mega donor George Soros. Disgusting. He said it in a June 2015 interview about the Smartmatic Dominion link with the Philippines news outlet ABS-CBN, or -CBN. Lord Malloch Brown admitted, yes, part of our technology is licensed to Dominion. Look at that guy. When moving to New York, because he's British, right? Moving to New York, he rented his home from George Soros himself. Priced below market rate, by the way. Now, noting that they are good friends, a United Nations spokesman described the arrangement as, since both are public figures, they decided to set up the living arrangement as a commercial transaction rather than a gift. In 2007, he was appointed vice president of Soros's Quantum Fund, as well as vice chairman of the Soros Fund Management and the Open Society Institute in the same year. What a freak weirdo. That's Smartmatic. Do you trust Smartmatic? No, I don't. Despite all this, Smartmatic maintains it has no ties to governments or political parties. Mark Malloch Brown. I looked him up on Twitter. He tweeted out a New York Slimes article from November 13th by this Ivan Krastev guy saying why those of us outside the U.S. have every right to be concerned about what's going on in America. The apocalyptic politics of the populist right. Scaremongering against Trump, who loves America and actually loves the world too. This scumbag, Mark Malloch Brown, also retweeted this I think he's Haitian, but he was born in Congo, one of the Congo countries. George Soros, this black guy who's a mixed race maybe. George Soros Open Society president, Patrick Gaspard on Twitter, who said, hey, Dems. He retweeted this. The guy, and this is a chairman, according to National Pulse, of Smartmatic. This guy, he retweeted this guy who said, hey, Dems, meaning Democrats, you're about to retake the presidency from the hands of this madman, referring to Trump, calling Trump a madman. Okay, Democrat. Stop walking around like zombies. Stop the flagellation about all the people who voted for the racist misogynist. Recognize the win, own it, and do something with it. What an evil person. And he's retweeting that. And he's buddies with George Soros. Disgusting. Yeah, of course they cheat. Of course they lie. All George Soros did was lie and cheat. I've heard him talk. He talks just like those dumb liberals who just repeat mainstream media lines and Black Lives Matter lines. And he supported Black Lives Matter, by the way. Scum of the earth. So there you have it. That's Smartmatic, and that's Dominion, too. 96% of their donations went to Democrats. Please. Anyway, I got to get to... Oh, one of my main guys dropped. Real quick, let me get to Robert in Kansas. Robert, how are you doing?
Hey, Hake, doing well. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good. Really appreciate Samuel from Sweden's call. That boy is waking up like 90 going north, and he's uncaught the fire, so that's good to hear.
You think it's waking up to get into that?
Well, just looking at things for yourself instead of trusting what you've been taught. We don't need to go into details, but yeah, I mean, if you notice things don't really make sense about, let's say, the NASA model, and you're looking at the sky, you might want to look some more, basically, is what I'm saying. I don't want to be definitive on anything that I believe, but yeah, man, just look for yourself. That's my advice.
But he sounds like he's saying something doesn't make sense when it might actually make sense if he were to pause.
He could be wrong. He could be wrong, and that's okay. He's just doing his own looking, own thinking, as far as I can tell, and I appreciate that.
All right.
So, all right, man. But yeah, don't worry. You don't have to agree with him, Hake. Like when someone calls, I almost feel like you have to say, "Oh, well, I don't agree." Of course you don't. You don't have to agree, Hake. That's okay. You can let him say an idea that you don't agree with.
It's just interesting to see people slip into this stuff that is so unnecessary, so like silly. It's like apart from reality.
Well, if Satan wants to separate you from the truth, and he's in charge of the world, right? He can teach you in school all sorts of lies and through the media and things like that, where he doesn't want you to know that the sun, moon, and stars revolve around you. Because if you knew that, you may act completely different than you do now.
That sounds like an intellectual explanation, rationalization of getting into something that's completely just silly.
Let's move on to something a little more right there at home. Hake, I heard guys are going into a lockdown. Is that true? Like they're trying to lock everything up?
I heard something like that. Yeah, this especially in the city of Los Angeles, this Eric Garcetti guy who's let homelessness get out of control said something to the effect of cancel everything. So yeah, that must be happening.
Okay, well, it might not be as bad as I was thinking. I'm not there in L.A., so I don't know. But I was going to say my desire for you and Jesse Lee and the whole organization would be that you launch counteroffensives to this attack, like a military type of operation. Now, obviously, we're not talking about like kinetic warfare. We're talking about information and stuff like that.
Info war and information warfare?
Yes, sir. And what I was thinking is, you remember that CHOP up there in Seattle? They had that CHOP where they had a block or two or whatever. They kind of took over.
Yeah, they tried to do that in D.C. too, by the way.
If you guys can organize a type of scenario where you have a bunch of business owners in a single area, and you can get them to open their business against the will of the city, and you have like a reverse CHOP situation. It could be one street, it could be a whole block, it could be several streets, whatever. But if you guys could do that, it would be real hard the first few weeks going through they're trying to find you, shut you down. But if you could set an example for the rest of the city and the rest of the country, like if you had a group of business owners that were brave enough to do this and they joined together, with their in a single area, you could set an example that then you could point to, right, on your radio show or wherever. You could point to and say, look, this is open, it's doing good, and you could set an example for the whole country. It could be very powerful. So I hope people look into those sort of challenges where if we join together for the right reasons, open our businesses safely, right? It's going to be pretty bad initially, but I think they would have to back off if people found that, everybody would go to them, right? The business would be booming. So
that's why I really appreciate Florida for doing that. They've stayed pretty much open, and they're setting a good example. So
absolutely,
yeah,
exactly what it is.
Individuals need to express their freedoms as much as they can. So be wise, though. As you said, be wise, be safe. Of course.
That's the thing, though. If they can force you to just not earn a living and everyone gets laid off who worked at that business, and then they say, go home, I mean, at some point you have to say, no, we can't do this anymore. Because, yeah, maybe there is a disease, but if we destroy the entire economy and bring down the country, I mean, you're going to wish you had a disease if there's no food. I mean, guys, it could get absolutely just like road warrior level if we don't have a supply chain to our economy that actually functions.
I know.
So,
people need to be working again. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, man, this is a service economy, and a lot of people make fun of it. We do each other's laundry, cook each other food, stuff like that. At the same time, you have money velocity, you have money getting down to the laborer, which drives the economy, drives everything. So you shut that down, and, people being evicted is going to be the last part of your problem. You'll destroy the whole economy where there's literally no food, brother. Like, there's no gasoline. There's no, like, that can happen. So it's something that the whole country has to push back against. And I was thinking there in L.A., it would put you in a lot of danger. But at the same time, like, if you could get a part of the city to open, the rest of the city would look at that and say, well, why can't we open? And it just like this COVID thing has a mass psychological effect. It's just using that same psychology back on the idiots, right? Back on the people who do whatever they're told. But once they see they can do it, they're like, oh, I can do it. So that's what I was thinking, man, that you guys could be like leaders in your area there. So you already are, but that's why I guess I'm presenting the idea.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, Robert. It's good to hear from you. Take care.
All right. I'll let you go. Bye.
Bye. It's wild. But you don't have to fall for it. You know, Walter Williams, I read it in Hake News at the end of hour 2. He had a similar quote of people need to take back the power that they've surrendered to these fake authorities. And this guy who was interviewed by the Epoch Times, this child psychiatrist of all things, I don't believe in psychiatry at all, which is giving drugs to help your brain, right? This guy, he talked about how people are like have this psychosis where they won't even listen to reason or facts or information. They just don't want to give up their masks. They don't want to give up this social distancing stuff. And they will tattle on each other like communists. And it's infecting Los Angeles and New York especially. I think this guy is Los Angeles based. But it's wild. I'll have that article linked in my Hake News section on my website for this is Thursday, December 3rd. Today's blog post for the Hake News section. Let me quickly get to Josh in Wisconsin. Josh, how are you?
Hey, good. How you doing, man?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, I was just calling them about, I guess the previous guy was talking about the flat earth stuff, but the guy who originally talked about it, I kind of wanted to call and kind of correct some of the things he was saying because he was kind of tripping over his words.
Okay. You're talking about Samuel from Sweden?
Yeah.
Are you a flat earther or a ball-tard?
I would say I'm a flat earther, man. I'm a flat earther, and we all should be.
What did you want to correct Samuel on?
I mean, he was saying everything proper. He just didn't have some of the facts and stuff written down. He probably got nervous, and just like I'm nervous right now. And also with all the politics stuff. I mean, I love watching you guys, listen to your show and watching it, and Jesse Lee Peterson as well. But like, say the flat Earth, it's a control thing. You know, like in the Antarctic Treaty.
What was he? Can you correct what he was doing wrong? Because you said you wanted to correct him on flat Earth facts.
Well, I guess he was talking about, the stars moving, how the planet moves, okay. So supposedly, according to science, the Earth rotates at 1,000 miles an hour on its axis, at its 45-degree axis, and then the Earth rotates around the sun at like 90-something, 60,000 miles an hour, I believe they say.
We're opening the treasure chest.
And then the whole solar system is moving and rotating at 95 million miles an hour, they say.
Okay.
But all these constellations have been the same for thousands of years. You know, when you look at the North Star, you can put a camera at it, and what do they call it, where it's you film it, but it films slowly, and they all circle Polaris, the North Star. And they're always the same. It's always been the same. All the constellations have been the same for thousands of years.
Okay. Interesting.
But because that's what he was trying to get to. But if we're moving at all those different directions and all these millions of miles an hour, why has nothing changed in the sky?
I don't know.
And the
It's a
flat
system.
Earth,
It doesn't
it's not about a
mean-
globe. We're not on a disc. It's about hiding God and hiding the fact that we are special. This place was put here for us. And the one thing that NASA would want to try to hide, they want to make you think you're not special, that you evolved from a microbe.
I've heard that
and you're
before.
nothing.
I've heard that claim. Interesting,
And,
man.
that's why you go pay taxes, you get a job. You're nothing special. You're just like everybody else. And
I
that's
appreciate
part of
it,
the
Josh.
Flat Earth thing, and kind of like how the Democrats are a bunch of liars. They're hiding shit. But
Whoa. Jesse Lee Peterson put forth a theory about the flat earthers.
yeah,
That,
I didn't hear it. What is it?
That whites are especially getting into it because whites are treated like trash. And so they need something to have their own thing and feel special. So,
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, it says it in the Bible many times, and in the Book of Enoch and whatnot.
Okay. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it, man. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, I'll call back again and talk more about some politics stuff, like the Trump campaign.
Yeah. Yeah, do
totally
call
getting screwed
call
up.
again, man.
All right.
It's good to hear from you, Josh. Take care, man.
All right, brother. Talk
All
to
right.
you later.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm sorry, guys. I have a ton of callers left to get to, but I cannot. If you can call me tomorrow, I will get to you. It is going to be Friday tomorrow. Last night was the Bond Sunday service premiere on the Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel. Bible go-to guy is a ball-tard with some common sense. He wants to call in. Maybe if we can get in tomorrow. Louis from Idaho, I think, wants to talk about the 25th Amendment and Pelosi and Biden. Rick from Hampton wants to comment on that Janet Yellen woman out of the Biden Treasury, and some others that have dropped off, guys. But I will get to you tomorrow. Appreciate the support, everybody. Shout out to all my ball-tards and flat earthers. And thank you for the support, guys, on Streamlabs and DLive. I appreciate it. TheHakeReport.com for my stuff. JesseLeePeterson.com for Jesse's stuff. Take care, guys.